Hey, 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 hey! A choir of otherworldly voices called for us. The house had been there for as long as I can remember, standing tall against the test of time. Sure, it looked beaten up, ancient even, so much so that my friends and I have been fascinated by it. We even spent entire days hanging around inside smoking or drinking beer. The paint had been peeling off at an accelerated pace in the last few years, and when it all came down, I noticed there were scratch marks all over the interior walls. There were also faces scratched on those walls. Some were happy, some were sad, some were angry, and some were evil. Their wretched eyes staring deep into mine made me shiver with unease. The faces were chaotically contorted, with either disgust, fear, or anguish that spread throughout the room, filling it with dread. It was a feeling of not belonging, of something out of this world, a plague that came here to haunt the living and twist their minds into dark despair. I stood still, in silence, the first time I saw them, just watching and observing. All kinds of scenarios went through my head. Why were they there? Who painted them, and for what reason? Was it all just a joke meant to play with the minds of those who laid eyes upon this grotesque imagery of hellish creatures? This house always had a bad reputation. The townsfolk warned the kids in town to stay away from it during the night because weird things happened there. But of course, I had my reservations about that. Most of the time, it's just make-believe with these types of scary stories. The adults like to play games and blow things out of proportion to conceive a silly story. One of those stories is about the name of the house, or rather the name of the street it's located on. Candy Cane Road. The houses in that neighborhood are all new and inhabited by people with good reputations, respected and well-known in our town. Of course, the street has a different name, legally speaking on the maps and the tip of everyone's tongue. But the small portion of the road that leads to the house is a different story altogether. The old townsfolk say that a very long time ago, a few kids in town went trick-or-treating on a Halloween night. Of course, everyone told them not to go to that house after dark, yet they did go. They disobeyed what their parents told them. Maybe they didn't do that. Perhaps time passed very fast. And before they knew it, it was dark, and a monster, a ghost, or some other evil being got them. No one ever found the kids. The only thing the search and rescue parties found was candy canes smashed all over the street, and lots of blood that adorned the candy. And then they looked at the house, who stood like a menace in the dark, just watching them, observing them, and studying their every move. The wind shrieked in the hollow darkness, and some people said they could hear the children's cries tearing through the fabric of the night. Candy cane has always been associated with Christmas time, and so many people never understood why this particular type of candy had been found on a Halloween night. I can't imagine what it must have been for their parents. Heartbroken, not knowing what happened to their children and how they died that way. Empty and alone and without being able to say goodbye. They only buried cold and empty coffins. Maybe those drawings were made by the children before they vanished, or perhaps they were made by whatever or whoever killed them. Maybe it was a ritual murder, a sacrifice to old, demented, ravenous gods. I jumped when I felt a hand squeezing my shoulder. "Whoa, whoa, easy there, buddy. What's gotten into you?" Tommy asked. He has been my best friend since we were little kids. He was the brother that I never had. "Nothing, man, sorry, it's just these damn drawings. They are hypnotic, scary little monster faces. Repulsive, don't you think?" I asked him, beads of sweat coming down my temples. "What? What are you talking about?" "The drawings on the wall," I said, turning to face the now blank wall. "They were here just a second ago. The scratches and the monsters, Tommy." "Dude, get off your trip. Did you smoke something before we got here?" he said, inhaling air and coughing after. "No, man," I said. My fingers began shaking and the knuckles hurting. It was as if small vices were placed on each knuckle and an invisible force squeezed tighter. I wondered if they would explode and imagined blood and bone jumping all over my face and on the walls. A grotesque image that I soon wanted out of my head forever. "John, snap out of it. Let's drink a beer." "Ah, shit. I forgot my cigarettes at home. Can you spare one, please?" Tommy asked, wiping saliva from the right corner of his mouth. "Stop lying, Tom. You rarely have cigarettes. You always ask either me, Kevin, or Joey over there, but they're too ashamed to say anything. So I think it's time to start buying your own, dude. Here, this is the last one, I said, reaching in my jacket side pocket for the pack. I pulled 2 out, one for him and one for me. He placed it in his mouth. Well, if you're giving me shit to eat, at least give me a goddamn spoon to eat it with, he said, raising his hands in the air. I let out a sigh and lit his cigarette. Fuck you, Tommy. We both laughed it off and went to Kevin and Joey. They were already smoking, laughing, and belching from the cheap beer they had already downed. Guys, our boy Johnny over here said he saw monsters on the walls, my best friend said. He burst out in laughter. Joey laughed too. Kevin didn't. Well, I fucking saw them too, Kev said, flicking his cigarette. What's there to laugh about? I didn't, said Joey, letting out the loudest burp I had ever heard. It was goddamn demonic. Well, the wall's empty. No paint, no drawings, nothing, Tommy said, puffing his freshly lit cigarette. And scratch marks too, I said, still thinking about the monstrous, contorted, and twisted devilish faces. The sunset was near, a fiery orange hue with a dash of bright pink and wavy yellow light colored the sky above. They intertwined, delivering an otherworldly spectacle. It was such a formidable sight. Top that with the light summer breeze and the rustling of leaves, and there it was, a perfect picture painted by Mother Nature herself. That was on the outside, lively and beautiful, a view that made up for 1,000 words. Yet inside the house, the silence was all too pressing. It was morbid even, and it felt like we were on the precipice of seeing things we were not supposed to see. It felt like being in a tomb. All right, let's head out. It's going to be night soon. We are not supposed to stay here after nightfall, said Kevin. We were heading out to the main entrance when it started happening. The scratches and the faces appeared again. They looked like spirits were just drawing them. Holy fucking shit, Joey said, frozen in place like a statue. What the fuck? The drawing got faster and louder. The scratching noises were unbearable, and we all covered our ears. What the hell is going on? I screamed, and before we all knew it, it got dark outside. Pitch black, a blanket of darkness sprinkled with tiny, shiny white dots. Hey, 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 hey! A choir of otherworldly voices called for us. We all turned and saw 4 children, just about our age, 3 boys and 1 girl. Their clothes were tattered and torn, and they looked to be in the worst shape of their lives. Each of them was standing in front of each of us. Then they all placed 1 finger against their lips as if instructing us to stay silent. Don't move, don't speak. Try to breathe as little as possible. He can't see you. He can only hear you. It won't be long now, one of them said. His neck was swollen and bruised. Another boy had his neck cut open from side to side, yet he was still alive. The girl was white as a sheet, and her eyes were gray and sad. When she spoke, I could hear her choking faintly, like she had water in her throat. The last boy had blood coming out from his temple, and it became thick as it stopped running. Then I remembered what the townsfolk said. I remembered why it was called Candy Cane Road. I remembered everything, the story, the missing children. It was true after all. Everything was true. I was all choking up, trying so hard not to shed tears. The kids came even closer to us. Here, this will hide you from him, the girl said. Then she gently touched the bleeding temple of the other boy. She rubbed the blood against each of our foreheads, and I felt the heavy liquid sticking to the center. I looked at her, and she saw me. It's okay, don't cry, it's okay. He can't even smell you if you wear this. He doesn't like dead flesh and blood. He likes it young and fresh. That evil bastard. I was too petrified to talk. I tried, I really did. But all I was choking up so bad before I could even say a single damn word. The boy with the slit throat came forward. Please, I'm begging you, do not look at him. Just close your eyes when you hear the scream, okay? He said, whispering as if he had no vocal cords left. There is something that we need to ask you if you can help us. We need to rest. We've been here for so long, and we need to go home. He pointed up to the sky. You need to get someone to burn the house down, a priest or someone holy. He needs to soak it in gasoline and strike the match and burn it to the ground, said the boy with the bruised neck, coughing heavily at the end. The boy with the bloody temple patted him on the back. It's okay, it's okay. Then he turned back to us. The owner of the house is the one who's coming here right now. He sensed something was moving inside and he's coming back in a few moments. He was so evil in his lifetime and continued to be the same even in death. You'll be okay, I promise. But you need to help us, please. We need to be buried so we can rest. I'm at the bottom of the lake behind the woods, the girl with gray eyes said as she coughed up mud. I'm under the big oak tree in the woods, the boy with the swollen, bruised neck said faintly. The rope is there too. I'm under the big concrete block east of the house. He made me hold knife after I died, the boy with the slit throat said, covering the wound. And I'm under the house. Please get me out, please. He put the knife in my pocket, he said, touching his temple. It's cold and lonely there. The wave of revelations hit me so hard and I didn't know what having a heart attack felt like, but I thought I was about to have one. Then a ruthless scream filled the night. It was haunting, devilish, and evil. Steps came towards us from the woods frantically. No matter what you hear, do not open your eyes and do not move, they all said together. We closed our eyes and waited. The steps became louder and the man got closer. I heard him bursting in through the back door and he just laughed. There you are, he screamed like a madman. My heart stopped. I thought this was the end. If he had seen us, then it was too late to run. Then I heard the sound of someone or something cutting flesh. Then the sound of someone choking. The girl screamed. Then a big splash followed. Then I heard screams again as she came back to the surface. Then her screams were underwater. Then silence. Then I heard a whoosh through the air and the violent sound of metal against bone. The bone cracked and I could feel bile rising in the back of my throat. In the end, another choking sound. The cries for help and pleadings for the man to stop were in vain. And then a popping sound like a can had been opened. Gotcha, you bastards, the man shouted. Then silence again. We stood there a few more minutes, then opened our eyes. Nothing. It was like nothing had happened. Then we turned around. The scratching and monster faces on the walls had vanished too. I think the monsters represented the way they had seen the man. I was glad that we didn't get to see him, but those sounds will forever be tattooed in the back of my mind. I still wake up screaming in the middle of the night. I think the children chose to sacrifice themselves again and again whenever someone was in the house at night. It was the greatest act of bravery I had ever witnessed in my life. The following day, the search parties found their remains, and the kids got a proper burial. They had found them all, and they were all exactly as they said they would be. After the funeral finished, Father Barnes went to the house and soaked it in gasoline. Then he started praying for a few minutes. Finally, he set it ablaze. The fire was howling as if someone's dirty and rotten soul was burning, and its last embers were carried away by the wind. Now there was nothing but a pile of ash left.